So the idea, again, is that all the resources that you need are already inside you. You just got to break through the fear. The fear, that's like the prison bars. It's the emergency brake. It's the chains you got to break free from. So those are some things that you can do to break through your fear. And if you can't and you don't want to come out and join us, do something and then come back on the call next week and we're going to talk about it. Okay, and I'll bring you on the call and we'll share experiences. So that's the plan. Now what I want to do now, the call is at 1 hour, but I reserved a little bit more time. I want to bring on a couple of people here. I think Stephanie's willing to maybe come on and talk about an experience that she had with fear on one of the courses that we did recently. And I just want you to hear from her. I don't know if Valerie's still with us or Charles is still with us. I know, Valerie had the fear of snakes her whole life. Deathly afraid of snakes. We were going to have is she with us today? Okay, great. And I don't know if they're willing to be on. I know you guys have got things to do, but if you're willing to stay on for a little bit of bonus time, I want to ask that you do that now. So, Stephanie, you want to go ahead and jump on the call here? Just wait for her to unmute herself.
Hey, everybody, can you hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Cool. Well, thank you, everybody, for getting on the call. I think the coolest experience that I had, we were out with the Adventure Club, was on the free fall, with the zip lining, and it was a 100-foot free fall, and there's part of me that's like, you know what, I'm cocky, I can do anything, and when I climbed that 100-foot tower and it was time for me to perform and jump, I couldn't do it, and I wasn't ready to do it. I didn't realize that I had the fear, and that's really what the cool thing is about doing all these different bioenergetic experiences, is that I was unconscious of this fear, and my pride was holding me back from really seeing it. So I went up on the tower, and I couldn't do it. So I actually walked all the way back down the tower, and then this was in like the second week in December, and then around Christmas time or the week after, I'm like, you know what, I want to leap into the new year and face my fear. So we called the place, and we went back down and did a zipline adventure and had a lot more people show up, which was so awesome. And Scott rehearsed with me. We did the techniques and everything, and I walked up the tower. And, one of the things that was different, what the strategy was, typically what I do is I like to go first. And instead, I let everybody else go first, and it was because I was scared. It wasn't because, I was doing them a favor, but it was because I was scared. So this time, I changed the strategy. I went right after Scott, and eventually, I jumped. I jumped off. I went off a little bit different than I originally rehearsed, but the cool thing that I learned about that was, you know what, I might not do it exactly as I rehearsed, but the bottom line is I did it, and where I can use that in picking up the phone and calling people or speaking my truth, and it might not come out exactly as I want it to, but it's going to come out, and I'm still going to achieve the outcome that I desired. So it was really awesome. I got a ton of support. So I hope to see you guys maybe out. We're doing the free fall this Sunday, so if anybody's interested in coming out to zip line with us, you can check out. We have a Facebook event page. So thank you, Scott.
Yeah, thank you, Stephanie. And can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Just want to make sure I didn't mute myself out there. So that was an amazing experience to watch Stephanie and break through her fear. Now, when you go back out, there's not going to be any fear that's going to hold you back this time at all, right?
No, I'm going to do it. I'm thinking about it a little bit, like, okay, am I going to do it again? Because I did it twice that day, but what I'm doing is I'm continually rehearsing it. Like, I'm rehearsing it in my head before I go. So I activating the support principle and putting it out there, no, I'm definitely going to do it. So.
All right, cool. And since you've done this, I've been watching you, and this new confidence has showed up in your life many times. And it's really amazing to watch. And so I don't know if Charles is able to unmute and hit *6. If you're there, Charles, let me know at any time. But, Charles, we went down to Panama City Beach. And are you there, buddy? I don't know if he's there with us or not. But it's *6 to unmute yourself, Charles, if you're with us. And anyways, Charles was in Vietnam. He was a door gunner in Vietnam and flew around in helicopters, a lot of fearful situations. And, that was, 30, 40 years ago. And fear, it creeps back up on you. And he had the fear of the heights. And we were doing this thing called the slingshot down there where we were shooting straight up in the air 300 feet in about 1.5 seconds. what was that, like 6 Gs, 6 gravity. It's like, a rocket ship. And it shoots you straight up in the air. It's like a reverse bungee jump. And I got to tell you, man, I've jumped out of a plane. I've got about 100 jumps. That thing brought the fear up in me a little bit, too. And so Charles, the first day, he decided, I think I'm not going to do that one. And we went back to the condo that night. We did a few techniques. We did some strategy. We went out the next day, and he did it. So that's what happens a lot of times is you've got to bump up against what you're afraid of